Hi folks. So yeah, I wanted to make this video today about facial paralysis and weird head feelings after having an acoustic neuroma. But in light of the COVID virus thing going around, I just thought I would share an email I got recently from the Acoustic Neuroma Association in America. So, as many of you know, I do these videos trying to reach other people that have had to deal with this stupid tumor. So, I thought first, before we get into the facial paralysis and the weird head pains, I would just share this little info with you all. So, it says a statement from the member of our medical advisory board. Again, this is the Acoustic Neuroma Association of America. It says acoustic neuroma and COVID-19. Currently, there is no evidence that having a vestibular schwannoma by itself will increase one's risk of acquiring COVID-19. In case you're new here, a vestibular schwannoma is also an acoustic neuroma, also known as the stupid tumor that was in my head. Back to the email. Having a vestibular schwannoma should not change your global immune response to increase the risk or protect from acquiring the virus. This is also currently no evidence to suggest that having previous stereotactic radiation or surgery for a vestibular schwannoma prior to the COVID-19 pandemic will impact the future risk of acquiring the virus either. However, currently, vestibular schwannoma treatment is being postponed at many medical centers across the country to reduce the risk of COVID-19 spread. The delay in this treatment decreases the risk of spread to patients themselves and others and healthcare workers. At many centers, only vestibular schwannoma cases that are considered urgent or emergent are receiving treatment at the present time. However, the current situation is very fluid and resources and recommendations vary across the country. They recommend here to read the CDC website on COVID. I recommend going to WHO, though. If you want to read more information about the COVID-19, as if none of us have already read enough information. I know I've made myself crazy. And yeah, they end the email with this information pertains to patients with a single vestibular schwannoma, not patients with neurofibrosis type 2. If you have specific questions about your individual condition, please contact your doctor. And yeah, I just thought that was interesting. Acoustic Neuroma Association of America sends me a lot of really interesting things, and I'm really thankful for them. And if you've had to deal with a stupid tumor, highly recommend it, no matter what country you're in. My heart goes out to any of you that are kind of sitting and waiting, for example, pre-operation of this tumor. Luckily, this tumor is a slow-growing tumor. Just keep telling yourself that. But, I mean, even my rehabilitation and looking into correcting some of my problems, all that's just been put on hold because we're all doing quarantine, self-isolation, happy fun times. Right, let's get into the topic of the day. So, as you can all see, I have facial paralysis. This fall, it will be 3 years after my operation to remove what was a gigantic mofo of a tumor. I don't think much more of this is going to come back, but just as soon as I say that, I feel like every so often I notice something new. And as this did start to correct itself, the changes are so minuscule, they're so tiny, and happen over such a long period of time that, like, I don't notice them. It takes other people telling me that they notice them. And right after my operation, this whole side of my face was hanging down. So yeah, if you can believe it, this was worse. um, Literally, everything was drooping. I even had the grandma hangy skin thing here in my cheek, and as you can see, it's lifted some. Also, should be noted, after my operation, I couldn't close this damn eye. I had an eye patch. I had a weird thing I could tape over it to protect it, and eye drops. To sleep at night, I would put a washcloth on it that would hold it shut. It was quite annoying, and I think the most annoying was the eye not being able to shut and the mouth here. I couldn't drink without a straw. This is right around, this is not too long after they started banning straws everywhere. Yeah. Right after my operation, almost 3 years ago, the left side of my face was hanging. I couldn't keep much in this side of my mouth without drooling. I couldn't close this eyeball. And when I really think about like the changes in the time periods, I would say it took a minimum, it was like a minimum of 7 months before I was even able to close this eye. Little by little, I'm working on training them. I'm getting them to blink together, and I think right now, and this is new, they're trying. Like sometimes they're randomly blinking together like they should, like without me forcing it or whatever. But I still work on it by like looking in a mirror and just trying to do it, training my brain how this is all supposed to work. And yeah, even almost 3 years later, I still will notice like a little difference in my blinking abilities, if you will. It still feels like there's some nerves or something not quite connecting right here. It's annoying. Like I can feel air there. It feels like even when I can shut it, it's not really quite all the way shut. And regardless, I'm very happy with what I have now compared to what I looked like when I came out of that operation. Now, if you just found out you have this tumor and you're about to get this operation, they will warn you about the chance of this happening. But I want you to know it doesn't happen to everybody. Seems like a lot of the issues that I have don't happen to a lot of the people if they find the tumor early enough. Mine, of course, when they took it out, they estimated that thing was probably in there for 10 years, and it had built itself around all of the nerves. You've got nerves that come up like this, and this tumor, which is back here, had built itself around over all of those nerves, as well as just destroyed and crushed my balance organ. And I don't know what it was doing back there, but it was starting to poke on my cerebellum too. I think what's been most frustrating about the facial paralysis, at my last doctor visit I was labeled facial paralysis grade 3. What's been actually the most frustrating was not the not being able to close my eye, was not the drooling out of my mouth or having a hard time eating in front of people because it's embarrassing. I think the most annoying thing was actually that no doctor wanted to talk about it with me. Like, pretty much it was made clear from the beginning that that's cosmetic. So, unless I got like a load of money, deal with it. And like, I just wanted to talk with the doctor about it. I just wanted to understand. But I felt like no doctor wanted to, number one, they don't want to commit to anything. So they don't want to tell you, oh yeah, there's a good chance it'll repair or it'll fix. Everything was just wait and see, Frau Armstrong. So I wait and saw, and as I stated earlier, 3 years later, I am still from time to time noticing like minuscule improvements either in my eye or my mouth. But yeah, here in Germany, that while the healthcare system is really good, they don't want to talk to you about anything they may label cosmetic. They like to make it very clear that they will not pay for it. I was not looking for anybody to pay for anything cosmetic. All I've been looking for from the fucking beginning, and still am at this point, are just some answers to the weird things going on with my body since I had this stupid tumor. And I got like just a little extra pissed off when I believe it was through this Acoustic Neuroma Association in America. I found some information about the facial paralysis and the nerve endings in the face. And then, like, I read this sentence about doctors may want to do something within X and X amount of months, meaning connecting, like, dead nerves to live ones, just reconnecting, seeing if they can do it, because, this was in some medical paperwork I read, because this here issue can cause me other dental issues. Because things can get, what they say, lost, hidden in the mouth. I brush my teeth, I do all of that stuff, but they're absolutely right. This is only going to bring me down the road more expenses at my dentist. But, you know, as the Germans say, es ist halt so. Just is that way. One of the funny things I found about having facial paralysis was the amount of people that not just thought that I had a stroke, but actually had the balls to verbalize it, like make a comment about me having a stroke without asking if I had a stroke. Let me explain. I tried to get back into my job after this operation for a lot of reasons, not many of them good ones. Went back to my job and I was trying to do it as I'm realizing I'm having these balance issues, energy issues, and with the balance issues comes the nausea and the headaches. And like I had customers, I can think right off the top of my head of three. Two young ladies, one young man. That just made a comment, like the young man customer of mine came in and just some small talk. He made a statement that he was glad I was back or something like that. And I said, yeah, that I look stupid, but like making jokes about it. And I remember him going, like, oh, don't worry about what people say. I mean, you survived a stroke. I'm like, I didn't have a stroke. And this is all really funny because I would go home and I would Skype every Friday with my best friend in America. And I would Skype with him and like I would make a comment like, aren't they gonna feel like fools when this comes back? Yeah, no, so little by little tiny bits came back. As you can see, my eyebrow here doesn't want to do anything. My mouth, I can hold food in. I do drool once in a while, but in all honesty, I drooled before they found out I had a tumor. And it was really a big gift to me when I could finally close that eye, especially at night. You have no idea how annoying it is having an eye that doesn't close all the way. And I have cats, dust, cat hair. The grossest for me was going out to use public transportation and like feeling dust go in my eye. And that's not, that's the bad dust at the train station. Trust me on that. Now let's talk about the weird head feelings, because God knows I've had my fair share of them since all of this began. I'd like to begin with the strangest, which was within days of after my operation. And that was, I'm laying in my hospital bed. I've got a big puffy bandage like that, going like that on the back of my head. I'm kind of like sleeping in a kind of sitting position, turning my head like this here. I'm laying in the room and it's completely silent. I think this was within 2-3 days after the operation. The first 2 days or so were really fuzzy for me. And I'm laying in there and I hear like a drip, like I shit you not, like if you ever went into a cave. Like, have you ever been in a cave? If you haven't, you can look a cave sounds up on YouTube. Have you ever been in a cave and you can like hear the moisture on the walls dripping down? I shit you not, I was laying there and I'm hearing what sounds like that, and I'm trying to figure out what it is. It was not the bathroom, there were not leaky pipes, it was not the lady snoring next to me. It was in here. Like a drip, drip. And I remember thinking like, this is weird and slightly concerning. I don't have pains. I didn't know whether to like tell the nurse or something. Coincidentally, within about half an hour of this, a nurse did come in to check on me. And when I tried to explain it to her with my thick accent, we're speaking German, she laughed. She just started laughing. And as she started laughing, I'm laying there and I'm looking at her and I go, I guess if you're laughing, it's nothing to worry about. And she said, no, it's probably nothing to worry about. Oh, probably. That's great. Yeah, like after the operation, directly after the operation, I would say about, well, if this would be 50% of my head, I would say about 40% of my head was numb. Now, to this day, there's still some spots back here where I have no feeling. It's really weird because when I poke like this with my finger, some places it's come back. Some places it's come back and it's not nice. And some places are still numb. Like even on the top of my ear here. I'm thinking I should probably pierce the crap out of this right now because I don't feel anything in it. Right after the operation, that whole side of my head, I mean, where they smashed into it, it was all numb. Which, quite honestly, I think is a godsend. I don't want to know what the pain feels like when somebody opens your skull. I almost wonder if it's like a self-defense, or maybe it was just caused because they cut nerves. But regardless, I didn't mind that, not a nair all, that the back of my head was numb. It was strange. It was really strange, especially when brushing hair. Really strange. And I would say I first noticed some feelings starting to come back in that area. It was more than a year after the operation. And again, if you are somebody waiting on your operation to maybe get this tumor removed, don't get scared, because not everybody is affected the same. Not everybody's tumor is shaped the same. Not everybody's tumor lays on the same things. And not everybody has the same amount of stuff maybe that has to be damaged, like by me, to get this stupid tumor out. But when the feelings started coming back in my head, I have to say, quite strange once again. And what was no fun was in some of these little areas back here, it seemed that as I was getting feeling back, surprise, that feeling wasn't a good feeling. It was sort of like a just generally uncomfortable feeling. So I think little by little over the last 3 years, the nerves in the back of my head here have been doing their darndest to like try to reconnect. And as that's been happening, like little by little, generally by showering or brushing my hair, I'll feel like, oh, I can feel that there. But the not nice things, like I have mornings sometimes where I wake up and it literally feels like somebody hit me with a hammer right there. Like I say a hammer because the pain feels like a spot about that big in one specific spot there. And what's really strange about it is when I like take my fingers and I touch that area on the outside is numb. So again, just strange feelings. I've also had weird feelings where it feels like sort of like tingling, almost like ticklish almost, but not enjoyable at all, in this general area. Again, since no doctor finds this interesting to have a conversation about, I'm just guessing it's the nerves reconnecting and stuff is slowly finally healing back there. But it's really strange, and I find it really hard to comprehend that even now, 3 years, almost 3 years after my operation, that there's still stuff going on back there. And I'm not gonna lie, I worry. Like I said to my son one day, I don't know what hydrocephalus feels like, but if I had to guess what hydrocephalus feels like, I would guess it's how I feel right now. You see, because quite often I feel like I've described it as a round weight, like an old cannonball. I've had this feeling where I felt like I had that in here, in the sense of I feel like a bobblehead, like my head feels kind of wobbly. All of these things are really hard to describe anyway. So, yeah, most of the time you just end up with people looking at you like you're a weirdo, but I'm used to that. And in regards to the weird head pains after having an acoustic neuroma tumor removed, I think the one that bothers me the most and is still bothering me today is the whole reason why I have my hair up like this here. You see, if I go even just for like a short period of time and put my hair up in one of these little things in a ponytail, or more recently I've been taking like a little barrette and just like clipping apart here. Again, with hard to describe, so I'm just going to show you. When I start to take it out like this, I swear this whole side of my head here, I can feel where the follicles touch my scalp. I don't understand what's going on and why, but so yeah, if I put my hair where it's pulled into one position for any period of time, and that's serious, this is only since having this operation, when I take it out, it hurts. Like it hurts when I move this here to that. It doesn't hurt to the point where I'm going to cry, but it is an irritating and uncomfortable feeling. Like I feel every follicle in this area, and like that when they move, it's slightly painful, irritating, annoying at the very least. But again, I can't really tell you what that is. I've theorized, like when they cut in, maybe they peel up skin. Part of me is wondering, like, does that do something to the follicle, and that then it's like trying to reattach? But again, I repeat, I'm almost 3 years out now, and all of this stuff is still going on. Very, very strange. I'll be happy if that one stops. It's really got me thinking about shaving my head completely again. And I mean, if we're going to talk about head pain in regards to having an acoustic neuroma, I have to bring up the fact that still, even almost 3 years after the operation, I have headaches on pretty much the daily. I would say often those headaches are not so bad, don't last so long. I can deal with it without even medication. But it's looking like now, I can say, because enough time has passed and I've been really watching and listening to my body, I seem to get migraines like at least like twice a month, let's say. Yeah, so I have headaches fairly often, but luckily they're not so bad. I can deal with them. I'm dealing with being dizzy most of the time. The migraines, there's not much you can do against a migraine. I mean, I have some migraine medication, but pretty much it's lights out, get in bed. It's just no fun having the migraine. Yeah. The head pains, though, have really made me crazy because all of the strange feelings back here, like right now, if I do this, or even worse, if I do it back here, I am telling you, it feels like chills going through my body. It's like I can feel the hair follicles, and it's not a good feeling. It's very strange. I think it's also important that I mention the weather. I didn't realize this right away. This is something I kind of have come to terms with or believe since about a year now. Really trying to figure out like when I get the migraines, when my vertigo is bad. So like I'm watching my body, I'm watching my diet, I'm watching my sleep, and I wasn't seeing any pattern. I mean, I don't eat the best. I have a tendency to just not eat. So I've been really working on getting my diet in check, making sure that I eat 3 meals, thinking that is probably having an effect. But one thing that I did realize is when we have days where it's like a lot of moisture in the air, stormy days, my head, I will wake up, my head will feel like somebody hit me in the back of the head either with a hammer or like a baseball. I'll wake up with that feeling, like it feels like somebody hit me there. Little by little throughout the day. Now, this is on like stormy days, gray days, days where the air is like thick. I swear to God, I feel it in my damn head. I didn't want to believe it in the beginning. Like, I've heard of people that said, like, yeah, they had an elbow injury, and every time they know it's going to rain because their elbow starts to hurt. I never in my wildest dreams would have imagined that you could have the sort of the same thing after an operation on your head and then in the head area. It's, again, very strange. But definitely, I've noticed I feel worse when the weather is worse. Um, Spoken with my therapist about that. He says I'm not crazy, at least not on that topic. Um, and he says it's the air pressure. I'm feeling the air pressure. And at the same time, I spoke with my Hausarzt, my GP, and he was so safe with his words. But he said to me, "Yes, Frau Armstrong, we often do get reports of people that have had major surgeries reporting this, pains in that afflicted area when the weather changes." So these are all some great things you can look forward to if you're about to get your acoustic neuroma tumor removed. Now, seriously, if you're out there about to get this operation, I hope you're going to be fine. And they are getting so far advanced with the surgeries and the treatments involved with this. Don't worry. You'll be fine. And whatever comes, you can handle it. So if you know somebody that's about to go through this, and you want to help them after the surgery, make sure they get as much rest as possible. I was really thankful I had some help in regards to getting some grocery shopping done in the house. I was really thankful a friend had picked me up from the hospital as opposed to having to navigate public transportation with half my face hanging and dizzy issues. Um, just be there for that person. Seems to me most people come out of this nowadays feeling all right, but you're going to feel rough for at least the first few weeks. I literally felt like I got hit by a truck when I woke up. Don't get me wrong. I know the word literally is used way too much, and I may be one of the great offenders. But if I knew what it felt like, if I could imagine what it felt like to get hit by a tractor trailer, I imagine that is damn close to what I felt like when I woke up and the drugs started wearing off after my operation. So it's all about rest, and I think that's part of where I think maybe I went wrong with me. I've been really pushing myself since after this. I just wanted to get back to normal. I just wanted to get back to my job. I just wanted to get back to my normal life. I just wanted to feel normal. I still want to feel normal. I don't even know what normal is. And typical me is I go hard, try to ignore what's bugging me until it takes me down. And what I realized, it took me a little time to realize this, is when I finally stopped and gave my body a rest. And still to these days, like I have days where there's nothing getting done. I need to just rest. But when I do rest, I realize I do feel better. It may be a day or two later. So all I'm saying is if you're going to go through this, don't make the mistake I did and put a lot of pressure on yourself to get back to being super physical and the way you were ASAP, because it's just not going to happen. Your body's going to heal itself in good time, and you'll get back to be the best you can as soon as is possible. But I, for the first time in my life, really, really feel what rest does for the body. I say this as somebody who, several doctors in my life have tried to label me attention deficit disorder, hyperactive. I told them to shove their drugs up their butthole. But I'm somebody that's always been really high energy and didn't take breaks, would go to work sick, ignored pains and stuff like that. And I guess when you get a big old tumor in your head, that stuff's just not possible. I finally learned you gotta rest. You gotta rest once in a while. You gotta give your body a rest. And if you do, you can come back stronger afterwards. And most importantly, don't put pressure on yourself and how you heal based on what you see in other people, for example, online. That was the whole thing that led me to making these videos here about my stupid tumor. Is I was getting so frustrated looking online, and as I was trying to heal, and it felt like nothing was happening by me. And it got me even more frustrated to go on YouTube because I felt like it felt to me like everybody I came across was doing better than me. I even started getting angry, mostly at Mark Ruffalo. I didn't know who that actor was. And then I stumbled on his video, and he starts talking, and I go, his tumor was on the same side as mine. His tumor was like the same size as mine. But then the more I watched the video, the guy has zero facial paralysis. He doesn't have vertigo. It made me so angry. So just take it all step by step. Give yourself time to rest. If you end up with some facial paralysis, I highly recommend doing stupid exercises. I have spent hours in mirrors doing stuff like this, or whichever part feels heavy, just keep trying to move it. Same with my eye. When it wouldn't shut in the beginning, I just want to move it. Just keep trying, just keep trying. And what would happen is it would be over weeks, and I could do this, and then I could do this, and then I could do this, and then eventually I could shut my eye. So just keep trying. And if you've gone through this and you're frustrated and you got questions, leave a message in the comments. I read my comments. I try to respond to people. Be happy to communicate with you. But you do have access to some good information as well online. I am really impressed with the Acoustic Neuroma Association of America. I wish I was just as impressed with the German version. Anyway, I think that's going to be it for today. My hair follicles are bothering me. Thank you all for watching. I appreciate each and every one of you. If you've got a specific topic or a question you want me to go over, just leave it in the comments. I will, as I said, I will read and respond accordingly. And until the next time that we meet and we talk about whatever we talk about, take care of yourself.